Hello, Saki.
Hello.
I can't describe how excited I am having your quick response to make this interview. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
It is so important for us to have the chance to come closer to how a child with the same feels the world. So I hope it will help us a lot. Besides this, it's our first video we make as the newly established Greek Selective Mutism Association. So I'm more than happy to welcome you in this one. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to be a part of it and hope I can give you some good insight.
So, let's introduce ourselves to our viewers. I am Maria Kωνσταντινοπούλου. I'm a child and family therapist and the founder of this association. Saki, what about you?
Yep. Well, so I'm Saki. I was born in Australia and I've lived here for most of my life. I grew up with selective mutism, which gave me a lot of grief throughout high school and such. My situation was that I didn't want to be heard by anyone at school. I was very shy. So it could be categorized as an extreme anxiety disorder. And this disorder lasted me throughout all of my school years, most of my school years, most of primary school, most of high school. In kindergarten, I was talking a little bit just in the teacher's ear. I'd go up to her and I'd whisper in her ear because I didn't want the other children to hear what I was saying. So there was that much anxiety that I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be noticed. I hated attention, and that's.
How was it to be mute at school, maybe in the playground and at home? Were you mute at home?
At home, no. So my parents were actually the only people I would speak to. Outside of that, maybe one uncle. That's it.
Really hard.
And yeah, it was difficult, but.
Saki, I would like to know how. What were the thoughts and feelings you had by the question, why don't you talk? I'm sure that many people made these questions to you.
Well, the thing is, like, whenever people asked me why I didn't talk, I didn't have an answer for them because I didn't know myself. So what happened was, like, after kindergarten, I was transferred to a class with less students, and that helped ease my anxiety a little bit, and I was actually talking a little bit more. So there were only 4 students in that classroom, so it was an easier environment to deal with. But everything got worse after that. I went on a family holiday to Greece with my mum and sister. After I came back, that's when everything stopped and I stopped talking completely, and I couldn't understand the reasons why myself. So whenever people would ask me, I just shrug, give them the shoulders, don't know, I'm sorry, just can't answer your question. I can't answer it myself, you know.
Your mother answer instead of you?
No, at school, well, okay, like, of course I had other people speak on my behalf at times, but at school, my way of communicating was by writing down on paper. So I had to write what I wanted on a piece of paper, whatever I wanted to say, show it to the teacher, show it to my classmates. Sometimes that's how all my socialization was done, by writing things down.
you have any specific treatments, therapies?
Any treatments? Well, I didn't start seeking the help that I needed until I really wanted to change. When I was young, I was oblivious to the situation, how bad it was. At first it was, I think people got off on the wrong foot, my parents especially. They tried to instill fear into me, which is not, I don't blame them for it. I don't hold it against them. But it's not something that's going to work with a person with selective mutism. You know, you can say you're going to send off your kid to a school where they're possibly going to beat you up if you don't talk, you know. That was sort of the situation with me, to put it one way. And I knew that, like, I know now, realistically, that's what they were saying was probably out of proportion. I didn't think it was actually going to happen. It could have happened, but the point was the fear installation was a poor strategy, I would say. And it wasn't until I was older, like say 15, that I started like growing up, reaching puberty and such. And I was missing out on the experiences that normal people were having. So I was very much an observer at high school. I would watch how people would interact with each other, how they would socialize, and I would feel left out. And it really, yeah, it was a really awful thing to go through.
Yes. I imagine this would hurt psychologically.
Yeah, of course. Like, I felt like a bit of an outcast, you know, and you know, to see all these kids having normal experiences, I wanted to be part of that, you know. And if I didn't break out of my shell, I was going to miss out completely and ruin my life in other ways. So I can't stress how important it is to get these kind of issues out of the way as soon as possible.
Can you describe the reaction of your body when you felt this awful pressure to talk?
It's just like I'm frozen in a prison, you know, like a prison that I can't control. The anxiety level is so high that I feel like I cannot talk at all. Yeah.
Like your voice cannot come out, something
Yeah,
like that.
like everything tenses up, your throat tenses up, and it just stops anything from coming out.
Okay, Saki, what would you characterize as a turning point that made you feel that you want to talk and step forward, if there was such a point?
So the biggest turning point, I think, for me was realizing that I was going to miss out on all the other experiences that normal children were having, as I touched on before. And I didn't want that to be the rest of my life. So I wanted to fit in, succeed in life, and have aspirations just like anyone else.
Okay, very important you say that. Is there something, as you see it now, that it would have helped you back then to overcome SM? Maybe something that could have been made by the teachers or by your parents or the environment in general?
I'm not entirely sure if I could have been helped earlier. It's sort of something that I needed to come to terms with on my own, because I don't think anything would have worked. I was too much in my own world, too oblivious to what was going on. And my desire to talk was not yet quite strong enough. So it wasn't until I started, you know, going through puberty and realizing all of that, you know, that life that I wanted could have been slipping away from me, that, you know, that facilitates the inner growth that is much needed. You know, sometimes that's how it is with it, you know, without some pain, there's no gain, you know.
You know, Saki, what you shared today with us is so crucial for all of us who work with children with SM, and for their parents as well, because many times parents feel that their child will not overcome SM. So you are.
And I'm glad that there's such organization running in Greece, and you're doing that, you know, because to be honest, in Greece, it's not very well treated or touched upon. You know, there's not many resources available for, you know, people in Greece. So I'm glad that you're taking this on board and you're doing something with it. And that makes me happy to see. So
I am really happy to have you today with us. Really, really, I mean it. I have seen many things on YouTube that you do. Would you like to share some info with us about all these wonderful things you do?
About the things that I do, like with myself, with my life, you mean?
That you share with us?
Yeah, of course. Well, once I broke out of my selective mutism, I kept having that desire to grow and keep moving forward. So what I decided to do was travel the world. And that was something that I felt that I really needed, because I missed out on so much during my high school years. It wasn't until I was 15 years old that I started talking. So between 15 and the rest of high school, I graduated when I was 17. That's only 2 years at school that I got the chance to socialize. So because I missed out on so much, I needed to give myself a way to improve my social skills. So I went and traveled the world and met people in backpacker hostels and practice having conversations with people. I had to force myself to do that. And, you know, I was very keen to get it done because this was so important to me. You know, it's so important that I make up for the time that I lost. And that's been a theme throughout the rest of my life. I've been still finding ways to challenge myself. Having an interview is a challenge as well, you know. And I try to do the best that I can, you know, with what I got. So yeah.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Really, I mean it. And thank you. One last thing: if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how can we do that?
Well, I have my socials. I got Instagram. I post a lot of my photography on there because, you know, as I've traveled, I love taking pictures. That's I like to show the way I see the world and capture its beautiful parts. So my Instagram is Saki Traveler. That's one word with 2 L's in Traveler. Pretty easy to find. And that's the best way to get in touch with me, I'd say.
Saki, thank you a lot. I hope we keep in touch.
No worries at all. I'd be happy to have another conversation anytime.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we are looking forward to seeing you in Greece as well.
Of course. I can't wait to get back there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.